Hi, it's Rachel with Stirring the Deep. In a previous video, I talked about the element of the self-will, which is the judging spirit, which is a very dominant part of that self-will. And I described a lot of what it meant and what it creates. And in this video, I want to help you to defeat that judging spirit. Now, first, it is the grace and the power of God that destroys that spirit in you. That is what Christ came to do, is to enable us in our spirit to defeat the self-will, to crucify self, and to be filled and governed by His Spirit instead. So instead of being operated and governed by our self-will, which is corrupted, we now can be governed by His perfect Spirit and righteous love. And that is the thing that you really have to understand, because when you see this judging spirit for what it is, it's very overwhelming, because it is so dark, it is so harmful, and it is incredibly ingrained in us and in our thoughts. Remember, I described it like this filter by which you see yourself, others, God, the world. And so it's that filter that has to be removed. And when you first start, and God starts showing that to you, it can be like, oh my gosh, how can this ever change? Well, I will tell you, this is the purpose, the victory, and the gift that Christ is giving you by giving you His Spirit, is that He has complete victory over that. But I want to talk a little bit about what that looks like and sharing from my own personal experiences. And the other thing I really want to emphasize here is that you have to be taught by God. And it is incredibly important, because especially in things like this is God transforming you into a new creation, and He's the one that gives you a new heart. He's the one that writes the truths on your heart. And we're creative beings, and we play a part actually in our recreation as well, but it's still God's work. But we have to be partners with Him in this. We have to participate as He calls us. And that often means following His internal promptings and what He's wanting us to do and obey as He's teaching and writing us these things and renewing our mind. So it's this beautiful inner working between God and us as He recreates us. And it's all done through His power and through His grace, but we are definitely a part of this process. So, and the thing is that with the truths of God, truths build. Okay, just like lies, there's a web of lies that we believe, and every lie is attached to another group of lies. So that's why only God knows all of those constructs and how everything's put together in your soul. So only He can be the one to go in there and show you what's going on and pull them apart so that you'll be truly freed. And in the same way as He's pulling apart those lies, He's building up the truth, because one truth affects another truth. And so we have this where truth is building upon each other, right? And so if you're not being taught by God, you're not getting that reconstruction within you, so nothing really changes. You have kind of head knowledge of concepts, but you're not being made into a new creation. So you have to go to God and learn from Him and follow those internal promptings that He gives you to obey, because only He knows the lies you hold, and only He can rebuild you in truth, because that's really what He's doing. And so, one, you have to be taught by Him. Two, you have to know the love of God. And yes, that's a process, because the love that we have learned from this world and from other people has been so corrupted. And we have to learn what real love is, because if you don't know God's love, you'll never be able to trust Him. And if you don't trust Him, then you're not going to be able to let go of this judging spirit. Because what happens is God will say, hey, you need to not do this anymore. For you to trust that prompting, you have to trust God. And that means you have to trust in His love for you, that He will always be there, that He will never leave you, that He will never forsake you, that He wants your very best. And so it's so important to know that love of God so that you can truly trust Him, so that as He leads you on this path to destroy this judging spirit and replace it with His, that you can truly follow Him. That's the reason people don't follow God, because they don't trust Him. They don't trust because they don't know. And a big part of knowing God is knowing His love. So again, you have to trust God to teach you, because that knowing that love, that is such a personal, intimate thing. Listening to someone else talk about God can't give you that. You have to go and learn yourself. And then as that develops, that trust develops too. And that also helps to develop the love of God. So as you hear God prompt you to not do a certain thing, or to, to do something that you haven't done before, and you step out and do that in faith, then you'll see the fruit of that, and that will increase your trust in Him. And then next time you'll be able to follow Him. It may be something that would be normally a little bit harder for you. And so that trust also builds. But it starts by you obeying those internal promptings, by getting to know God, by seeking to know Him as He is in truth and spirit. And then from that, you'll be able to start really growing into a new creation. And this self-will, moving out of it and moving into life. And another thing is, you have to be careful and aware of what spirit you're feeding. Are you feeding your self-will? Are you feeding those blaming thoughts, judging thoughts? Are you letting them run wild? Or are you saying, no, I'm not going to go there, God. I'm going to take every thought captive unto you and submit it to you and your sovereignty and your authority. And so there is a part where we're being aware of what's happening in our minds, but the Holy Spirit will prompt you in this. So trust Him to do that. But that's what He'll do. He'll make you aware of what you're thinking, and He'll say, don't focus on that. Don't think like that. This is how I want you to think. So you have to be very aware of those internal, Him renewing your mind, because that's what He's doing as He's bringing up how you are thinking and what's going on there, and then how you should be thinking. That's the part of renewing your mind, of giving you that mind of Christ, which is possible because you have His Spirit. You have that power. You have that grace that's been poured out abundantly to you. You got to step in it and take advantage. So think about, what spirit are you feeding? And when you read in Philippians 4:8, it says, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are noble, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are good report, if there is any virtue, if there is anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. So as you're not feeding those judging thoughts, those critical, the blaming, those things that we do to ourselves and to other people, focus and reorient your mind on something else, because you've got to fill your mind with something. Okay, there's something always going on up there. So focus on those things in that verse in Philippians 4:8, and fill your mind with those things. So be careful of the images that you're giving heed to, the shows that you're watching, the media that you're filling your head with, these things that you're striving for, the books that you're reading. What are they really conveying? What are they really teaching you? Is it about more judgment? Like, this is what you should be doing. You're not good enough. You got to do this and this and this and this. Or, are these things really nurturing to your soul and that unique creation that you are, and that it's God who's really working in you, and He has these wonderful works planned for you, and that's the direction that you're headed in. So think about what you're really feeding your spirit and what you're giving your mind over to. Because we are those creative beings, and whatever we're focusing on, that's what we're manifesting. That's why faith is so important, having faith in the right things, and the things that are true, that are pure, that are God, that are love. So here are some things that you can kind of focus on, and if you do this, then that spirit will be defeated in you, because you are embracing the true life that you've been given by that, having that Spirit of Christ. Till next time, keep stirring the deep. It's the one thing that changes everything else.